And here we are, game one between our two Terran players here. FXO Unstable has left the game. Goodbye, FXO Unstable. And at the top of the map, in the red from the team, Mao's our last foreign player remaining in the tournament. It is ThorZaIN and I. He's a last remaining Terran.
Well, this is the anti-Korean sound, so that makes it sound like foreigner.
I don't know. Suddenly I became from the south somewhere. Don't know. Down at the bottom of the map, a player that is not from the southern United States. It is FXO GuMiho.
Absolutely not.
Accurate depiction of that Terran.
They would not take his Tal Terran antics down there, but
well, maybe, I don't know.
Let's see here.
He's a fighter. He likes to be scrappy.
That's true.
Aren't those supposed to be like
characteristic stereotypes, I suppose,
of the South? I don't know. Positive ones.
Yeah. Scrappy, always getting by, finding a way to get ahead, as GuMiho has done in this tournament. And we always like to mention that he plays a very raw, very visceral style of Terran that's revolved around constantly stretching his opponents, multitasking, being all over the place. He loves his Banshee play as well.
Yep.
So we'll see what ends up popping out. I like the choice of Metropolis for the first map in this round, though.
Yeah, it's a really cool map. I really can't wait to start playing this on ladder a lot more. I actually haven't had a chance to play too many games on it myself yet. I've played a few, but yeah, I just haven't gotten a chance to play on it yet. So I'm looking forward to seeing it in my daily laddering too, because it's cool. It's got an interesting layout. The third base, of course, is kind of shared by the top two expansions, but thankfully you can't spawn close in that regard.
Yeah,
that would be a little bit silly.
Let's see here now, as that would be an incredibly close walk distance.
Yes, it would.
Looking forward to that. Looking forward to Daybreak as well. I think that's the map that I'm most interested in actually getting some games on and playing.
It's a fun map.
Yes, I really want to work on the Nexus, or I'm sorry, the Gateway Nexus 8-gate build from Parting.
I used to actually practice TVP a lot on that map.
Yeah.
So it's just a good map for anything, really. I mean, if you want to practice against someone, Daybreak's a good map to choose. Oh, denied. The SCV does not get in. We'll be able to poke away at his SCV counterpart on the red side a little bit. And there's the expansion from GuMiho, so 1 Rax expand for him.
Yeah.
ThorZaIN no gas yet as well, so it looks like he's going to start his expansion a little bit later. He did get a second depot before his command center. That's why we see a little bit of a delay there, in case you're wondering.
Yeah, that's going to momentarily supply block GuMiho, but only just momentarily. That's actually, that was
trapped.
Yeah, trapped indeed. That was actually assuming that GuMiho was going to continue to produce Marines, which he's not, so it looks like he's prioritizing SCVs and making sure he doesn't get supply blocked. Good choice out of him.
You know, if I was like bored in the Terran base, I would just walk on top of a supply depot and I would tell them just like raise and lower it a bunch. It'd be fun. It'd be fun. It'd be like being on a trampoline.
Is ThorZaIN thinking of going barracks, command center, command center?
That would be fascinating if he was. It certainly appears that way. He's saving up for it. He's got the minerals right now, and
maybe 400.
There it is.
Go.
Wow. Okay, a very bold move from Mao's ThorZaIN. Interesting. Interesting. I wonder what we're going to see come after this. If we're going to see, I would have to imagine it's just going to be a bunch of barracks just to stay alive at this point. But no, 2 gas from ThorZaIN. Okay, so he's going to tech right out into this as well. You know, it might not be bad to go right up to Starport and get a Viking right away. Just kind of stay safe against the possibility of Banshees. Although, did he see the command center for GuMiho? That may have influenced his decision. He did. Okay, so he knows there's not going to be any really, really fast Banshees coming. So, yeah, he'll have plenty of time to get out a Viking just to kind of stay safe.
Now, we were speculating that this was going to be the Meat Mallet Terran, but no, it looks like he is fully in Spoon Terran mode right now. This is going to be, if it's his way, a fairly long, protracted game here now as a second barracks is popping up. This is kind of cool. He's doing almost a variation of that 2 Rex double gas style that he does off of 2 bases. It's just hitting a lot later because he decided to put down the second command center in a row.
Yeah, so it looks like ThorZaIN is going to go for some bio early on. Not going to tech up too quickly. Getting that gas for upgrades. Most likely he's going to want to get combat shields quite quickly with this. Could go for a fast stim, but it'd be a little bit safer to go for combat shields. He's already done some bold moves already in this game with his 3rd command center, though. So who knows, man? I mean, ThorZaIN, you just don't know what to expect from this guy these days.
All right. Well, let's see what GuMiho ends up moving into here, and sure enough, it is going to be a Banshee here, and he's going to have quite a bit of gas saved up. Actually, by the time this floats over, he may decide to go ahead and go with Cloak first of all.
Yep.
And he will have enough gas for that, just barely. So, Barracks number 2 getting a reactor. He's got 2 more coming up after that, so he'll be on 4 racks for a while. ThorZaIN, of course, sitting on 28 SCVs, but he's now able to triple produce those.
With this later Cloak Banshee timing from GuMiho. ThorZaIN should be okay against this, but I like it. I mean, this delayed Cloak Banshee has been something that's been pretty successful in Korean TVT. A nice little bit of micro there, singeing some of the Marines. But that's the thing, is that there used to be a time in TVT where Terrans knew when to save up some energy on their command centers for scans in case they needed them. And now it's kind of hard because you have these things like these delayed cloak timings. So you can't be saving energy, you know, all the time. I mean, you can maybe save one scan and kind of leave it at that. But Terrans just have to be really diligent in their scouting now. You see a lot of them getting that earlier engineering bay. Well, there's ThorZaIN's right there. Not very early, but you see them doing other things to kind of be prepared rather than just kind of save a scan or two.
Couple of notes here. GuMiho actually putting up a third command center of his own, and he did make his way up with a Hellion before and saw the Marines were staggered outside of the third, and I'm sure that's got to make him kind of pause and wonder. This Banshee going to find this out for sure, though, in just a second.
Yeah, it's an odd place to have that, so it does kind of give it away.
And GuMiho actually going into mech, as he does have his second factory finished up. So
I like mech.
I know you do.
I do.
Yeah, it's true.
Mech is fun.
Oh boy, this is going to be rough for ThorZaIN. He's not broken down these rocks yet. He was just starting to do so. Unfortunately, not going to be able to go through the debris quick enough, and the command center is coming under fire.
Well, that one Marauder is going to take a while to blast that down.
Yeah.
And ThorZaIN may have to lift that command center. We'll see.
All right. Well, he does force the cloak out of GuMiho. GuMiho, those combat shield Marines, he's just doing 2 hits apiece to and then moving away. But now he's going to be able to pick off quite a few Marines. This Banshee has certainly been worth quite a bit. There's a missile turret now, though.
Yeah, what is ThorZaIN exactly doing right now? Because he wasn't controlling those Marines. So
well, let's take a look.
What's going on here? There's another Banshee coming into his main from the south side there as well. This is starting to look a little bit rough for ThorZaIN. He's taking some pretty decent damage from this.
Okay, he's already lost 8 workers. The reactor's starting to get shot down as well. The missile turret's going to finish up momentarily, and there are some Marines moving into position, so we'll see if he's able to save the reactor. Yeah, now pulling some SCVs off of the line, and does finish up. The Banshee trying to make its way away, but only has 2 kills.
GuMiho has always been really good with his Banshee control, and this game is just a great example of him using those Banshees to the utmost, and I'm actually a little bit surprised that this has caught ThorZaIN so unawares. He just was not prepared for this at all, and here come the Hellions now.
Yeah. Oh, shoots down the Banshee at the same time, so he's able to drive away the Hellions on the back of a couple of Marauders sitting there. ThorZaIN really staring down the biopath now. Looks like he's got a pretty good read on what his opponent is doing. In fact, let's take a look at his vision. Still nothing seen, and now, believe it or not, with those Banshees, GuMiho has actually taken a 15 supply advantage and a 12 worker lead despite the earlier third.
Yep, he kind of mistimed the little Hellion aggression there. Blue Flame had almost just finished, but not quite, so he had to pull back once he saw those Marauders. But yeah, GuMiho with a nice little lead early in this game.
Yeah.
Have to see if he can take it. He wasn't able to kill that reactor on the starport, though, so that could be a bit of a tell for ThorZaIN, that GuMiho was focusing on that. I mean, that's a little bit too... it's not random. ThorZaIN can tell that right away.
Yes.
So that could be an indication that GuMiho wants to keep that air advantage, which could be an indication that he's going mech. So ThorZaIN, just by powers of deduction, may have an idea about this. Look at this. Wow. Marauders dying to Hellions. You don't see this very often.
No, but you have enough Hellions, you can pretty much make anything happen. Here comes a big drop around the side, though. 2 full medevacs of Marines and 1 Marauder.
Perfectly with Stim, too.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Finishes right as he drops into the base.
Yeah, it's just
about
2-1 done.
All right. Yeah, pretty good. There's the Stim from ThorZaIN immediately. He knew right when that was going to finish. And ThorZaIN
picks off
a little bit of damage here, but...
Yeah, he does a little bit, kills a few workers. Getting the tank was a pretty good win for him, and he moves away with, no losses to his air units and just a handful of Marines that went down. He managed to kill 9 workers as well and that siege tank, so a good drop for him. Equalizes the supply as well and brings him actually back into the lead in terms of workers.
Yeah, it's not bad. With both these guys on 3 bases now, I think we're definitely going to see more of a focus in the coming minutes on killing off offensive units rather than going for workers so much. Just because that's an odd place for the Raven.
I know, I was wondering about that.
Just because with 3 command centers and mules, you can, reproduce your economy so quickly that it becomes kind of inefficient to come in there and try to kill workers.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what we're going to see these players do. Oh, that's why the Raven was over there. Of course.
What?
Of course.
Okay.
So obvious.
I guess, but my God, I didn't expect that to happen at all. Banshee taking quite a bit of damage, actually forced to cloak a little bit ahead of time, so ThorZaIN getting a little win in there as well. Both players putting up their 4th command centers now as ThorZaIN and GuMiho are both about 3/4 of the way done with theirs. ThorZaIN just a little bit ahead.
Yep, that's right. This still is anybody's game at this point, for sure. GuMiho, though, he loses his Raven, but he's getting up to about that time when you're going to see a lot of pushing from Terran. When they go mech, rather. About that 150 supply mark.
Yeah.
How are his upgrades doing, though? He doesn't really... yeah, he just has +1 weapons right now. All right, his armory, his second armory just finished up, so we might see him go for a 2-1, or a 1-2, rather, relatively quickly here. But ThorZaIN's upgrade's definitely a little bit better right now than GuMiho's, and that might make a difference if GuMiho decides to push soon.
And there we go, +2 weapons for vehicles finally coming out for GuMiho now, as both players playing a little bit passively. Excuse me. Banshee cycling around the right-hand side, trying to get a bead on the 4th, and indeed is going to pick up on that. Vikings were moving back and forth, but they do miss the Banshee for now. And they're going to move up to intercept here in just a second, and that Banshee is not long for this world.
Nope, definitely not. Command center got a little bit of the paint scratched off by some of those missiles, but
that's about it.
That's about it, indeed. Yep, the barracks is like, oh, there's a Zerg on this map. Better warn the commander.
That neutral creep tumor sitting there in the middle.
That's a ton of Hellions built up for GuMiho. That is great, man. I mean, if you're going mech and you kind of like keep throwing Hellions at your opponents and lose them all before you push out, you're in big trouble. But ThorZaIN, as it is, might be the one who's in trouble because GuMiho has a pretty strong-looking army here.
Whoa!
Oh, yeah, that's going to work nicely.
And he's all bunched up. We are down to just Marauders. The Marauders are going to be able to go through a bunch of the Hellions, but now that the Siege Tanks are sitting in the back, ThorZaIN does not stand a chance, has to move away right away.
Wow.
And he's got a couple tanks of his own coming up here pretty soon, but once again, as soon as those tanks roll up for GuMiho, this is not going to be pretty.
Yeah, you know, with that many Hellions buffering damage and the tanks firing from behind, it becomes very, very difficult to engage head-on with Bio, as ThorZaIN just learned, unfortunately.
Oh, and he doesn't have siege mode finishing up for quite some time.
This is looking rough.
Those Hellions would have died much quicker if they were taking any sort of splash damage, but that's not going to be the case. GuMiho going to roll up here right through the natural. All right, and a couple of tanks at the back trying to do whatever damage they can, but they're being killed so quickly by this line. And there